Breakups are like Wi-Fi signals. When they disappear, you keep moving around the room, hoping it'll reconnect, but deep down, you know, it's gone. Hey folks, let's talk about something real. You've probably been there, sitting on your couch, staring at your phone like it owes you rent money, waiting for that little ping that never comes. And the kicker, it's not just anyone you're waiting on, it's that avoidant person, you know, the one who treats closeness like it's a contagious disease. They're not bad people, my friends, but they've got a PhD in disappearing acts. Now, here's the truth bomb. When an avoidant reaches a certain point, it doesn't matter if you brought them coffee every morning, memorized their favorite song, or laughed at their terrible dad jokes. Once they flip that internal switch, it's not about you anymore. It's about survival in their mind. Their brain says, too much love, too much closeness, danger, and poof, they're gone faster than cookies at a family barbecue. And no, it won't be dramatic like in the movies. No storming out in the rain, no screaming at the airport before the gates close. Nope, it's way colder than that. Think fewer texts, one-word answers, the vibe of someone writing emails like they're your landlord instead of your lover. Suddenly, they're deleting photos, blocking you on apps, and, get this, posting online like they just got cast in a toothpaste commercial, smiling, hanging out, looking like life is peaches and cream. Meanwhile, you're thinking, did we break up, or did I dream the last 6 months? That's the avoidant playbook, folks. They don't leave with fireworks. They leave with a ghosting toolkit. And here's the part that stings. They don't just leave you. They rewrite the entire story in their head. One day, you were their safe place, and the next. You're the clingy, dramatic villain in their self-made Netflix series. It's not fair, but it's their way of avoiding guilt. They can't carry both love and discomfort, so they choose the easy route, erase, rewrite, and move on like it never happened. Now, before you start spiraling into self-blame, let's pause. This isn't about you failing. This isn't about you being too much or not enough. This is about how their nervous system is wired. Avoidants often grew up in homes where emotions were treated like leftovers, either ignored or thrown out before they spoiled. So now, as adults, when intimacy feels too close, they retreat into that old armor. It's like a turtle ducking into its shell. Except this turtle also changes the story, so it looks like you were chasing it with a stick. But here's the silver lining, my friends. Once you learn the signs, you stop chasing ghosts. You stop waiting for texts that aren't coming. You stop replaying every conversation in your head like a bad reality show audition. Instead, you recognize the moment they've crossed the point of no return. And let me tell you, it's quieter, colder, and sneakier than you expect. But once you spot it, you'll never be confused again. Over the next 8 parts, we're going to unpack this whole deal like a mystery novel. We'll talk about the rewrite, the mechanics behind their shutdown, the weird relief they feel, the clean slate rituals like blocking and deleting, and yes, the classic blame flip where suddenly you're the villain in their fairy tale. We'll also cover why their little boomerang returns aren't really about love, how you can protect your own peace, and how to build a life so good they become nothing more than a chapter you once skimmed. By the end of this, you won't be decoding mixed signals anymore. You won't be staring at your phone, hoping for Wi-Fi in a dead zone. You'll finally be free to see it for what it is, their fear, their armor, their rewrite, not your fault. So buckle up, my friends. Grab a snack, maybe even a drink, because this is going to be part therapy session, part comedy roast, and part wake-up call. And trust me, you'll leave here lighter. Number 1. When they emotionally erase you. Editors cut scenes, not souls, but some exes try both. All right, folks, gather round. Let's shine a bright light on the slipperiest part of this whole avoidant saga, the rewrite. This is the moment they don't just step back, they open a brand new document in their head and start revising history like they're racing a deadline. One day, you're co-authors. The next day, your name is mysteriously missing from the cover. And here's the kicker. This isn't because you suddenly turned into a clingy movie villain overnight. It's because closeness tripped a wire in their nervous system. And the quickest way to feel safe again is to tell a story where you are the problem and distance is the hero. Let's picture it. You two had inside jokes, late-night talks, future plans that felt like open windows. Then something shifts. It doesn't look like thunder and lightning. It looks like scene at 9:12 p.m. No reply. And a smiling vacation photo that feels like it was posted specifically to prove they're fine. Meanwhile, you're at home whispering to your phone, "Hey, did we break up?" And the phone, being honest for once, says, "I'm just a rectangle, sweetheart." What changed? The internal monologue, the secret voice in their head, moved from "we have some issues" to "you are the issue." The past gets airbrushed, your patience becomes pressure, your honesty becomes drama, your consistency becomes control. Ta-da! Emotional erasure. I know, my friends, it hurts. You gave your best self. You were thoughtful, calm, and real. How did those things get translated into clingy, toxic, or too much? Simple. Rewriting kills guilt. If you're the villain, they don't have to look at their fear. If they label you overbearing, they never have to ask, "Why does love feel scary to me?" The rewrite is a painkiller for the conscience. It cancels introspection, clears the way for a clean exit, and makes the silence feel reasonable. It's not that they forget you, they edit you out so the story can continue with fewer emotional bumps. Imagine your shared memories as a movie. In their new cut, your scenes are on the cutting room floor, replaced by a montage of hikes, smoothies, and captions like "choosing peace." Let's break the lie right here. You didn't cause their panic. Closeness did, and closeness is not a crime. For an avoidant, intimacy can feel like standing too close to a speaker at a rock concert. Every emotion is loud, every ask is amplified, and eventually they cover their ears and run for the door. Not because the music is bad, but because their nervous system can't handle the volume. When their system gets flooded, they don't think, "Maybe I should learn volume control." They think, "That song is dangerous. I better blame the DJ. See how neat and tidy that is." Rewrite complete. Guilt removed. Exit justified. Here's a question for you, friend. What's the cost of believing their rewrite? Because that's the trap. If you accept their new script as truth, you start editing yourself to fit it. You shrink your asks. You apologize for your feelings. You pretend you don't need what every healthy relationship requires: responsiveness, warmth, repair. You know what that turns you into. A background extra in your own film, and we're not doing that anymore. But let's have some compassion too. Why do they think like this? Often it started way back, in homes where emotions were treated like leftovers, either frozen for later, that never came, or tossed out to keep the fridge clean. Vulnerability felt risky. Dependence felt like weakness. So as adults, when intimacy invites them into the deep end, their body hits the panic button. The rewrite is a survival script. I'm not avoiding love, I'm avoiding danger. And if the danger is you, well, that's tidy math, isn't it? Painful, yes, but tidy. You'll notice telltales once you know what to look for. The language changes first. You're intense. You're always upset. You're too sensitive. That word too is their favorite special effect. Too what exactly? Too honest? Too present? Too committed to clarity? Then the behavior follows. Fewer texts, business-like tone, "I've been busy," that somehow includes time for curated joy posts, a sudden allergy to any conversation with depth. Finally, the cleanup crew arrives, deleting photos, unfollowing, blocking, returning your sweater like it's hazardous material. It's not random, it's ritual. They're sterilizing the past to keep their new narrative infection-free. Let's try a metaphor you'll never forget. Imagine your relationship as a house you both decorated. When they get overwhelmed, they don't say, "Hey, these curtains make me anxious. Can we talk?" They hire an invisible demolition team at 3 a.m. and wake up to pretend the house never existed. If you show up with the spare key, they call you intrusive because, surprise, the place is now a blank lot with a no trespassing sign and a yoga mat. The rewrite lets them point at the empty ground and say, "See? There was never a house. You imagined it. Why is it so hard for you to push back? Because their certainty is chilling. It's hard to argue with someone who looks calm while you're shaking. That calm is not truth. It's anesthesia. When a person numbs their guilt, they also numb the bond. They will sound rational, even philosophical. "I just need peace." Translation: I need a story where I'm not responsible. And if you challenge the story, you become the villain, proof their rewrite was correct. That's why debating them feels like wrestling a fog machine. You get tired, they get cover. So what do we do with this? First, name it. It's not a mystery, it's a mechanism. Second, stop auditioning for a role they already cut. You don't need to send 100 gentle texts demonstrating you're safe. You are safe. You don't need to become less warm, less consistent, less alive to fit a tiny box labeled "not scary." Real love isn't frightened by your heartbeat. Real love says, "Thanks for telling me how you feel. Let's work with it." Third, choose dignity over decoding. You are not a detective hired to solve their inner child's case from 1998. Yes, we honor their pain. No, we don't sacrifice our reality to make their avoidance comfortable. You can hold two truths. You are scared and "I deserve closeness." When you hold both, the spell breaks. The rewrite loses power because you aren't co-signing it anymore. Let me speak directly to that brave part of you, the part that knows you weren't too much, you were simply fully present. You asked for eye contact, you asked for plans, you asked for repair after conflict. That's not a felony, friends, that's a relationship. If someone needs to erase you to keep breathing, they are not your safe harbor. They are a weather report, unavailable with a chance of revision. Here's a line to pin to your fridge. "I will not edit myself to fit a story that erases me." Read it again. Say it out loud. Does it sting? Good. That sting is you returning to yourself. You are not the villain. You are not the problem they needed to solve. You're the mirror that revealed a fear they were not ready to face. That's all. And mirrors don't apologize for being clear. Now, for a little tough love with a smile. If they need to pretend you were a tornado, let them. You and I both know you were a warm front bringing rain to a dry garden. If they prefer the desert, that's a lifestyle choice. But you? You're moving toward water, real connection, real effort, real repair. This is where we rise from fear, not by convincing them to rewrite the rewrite, but by choosing a life so honest and steady that revision isn't necessary. Let's seal this with an affirmation, short, strong, and yours. I choose clarity over confusion. I keep my dignity. I won't shrink to fit. Type it in the comments, my friends. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that you're done auditioning for roles that delete your name from the credits. And because I know you're curious, you beautiful little detectives, next we're pulling back the curtain on the machinery, how the avoidant mind flips the circuit breaker on bonding and cuts power to warmth like it's a light switch. It's not magic, it's a system. Once you see the wires, you'll stop blaming your glow for the outage. Stay with me. What comes next might just hand you the toolbox you've been missing. Number 2. How avoidants deactivate bonding. Love doesn't always die in a fight. Sometimes somebody just flips a switch and the room goes dark. All right, folks, let's pop the hood and look at the machinery. Last time we talked about the rewrite. Today, we're tracing the wires. Avoidants don't just decide to distance. They run a whole system built to cool the temperature on closeness. Think of it like a circuit breaker in an old house. Everything's warm and glowing. Then one surge, one honest conversation, one extra vulnerable moment, and click. The breaker trips. The lights of shared meaning go out. You're standing there wiggling the lamp, and they're already down in the basement saying, "Huh, strange. Must be the lamp spoiler." It's not the lamp. Let's walk through the main switches they use. First up is minimizing positives. When the breaker is close to tripping, they quietly turn down the brightness on everything good. Your great weekend becomes fine. The heartfelt talk you had turns into, "We just chatted." That sweet surprise you planned becomes unnecessary. It's not that they didn't like it, it's that liking it too much feels risky. If the good is big, the fall could be bigger. Better to sand it down to meh and keep the heart in bubble wrap. Right behind that comes magnifying negatives. A simple miscommunication gets upgraded to a red flag. A delayed reply from you becomes, "You're playing games." A request for clarity becomes, "You're demanding." It's like browsing life with a 300% zoom on every smudge. Negatives swell because they help justify distance. If the story becomes, "This is unsafe," then pulling away feels wise, not avoidant. And yes, my friends, it's maddening to watch a tiny hiccup get framed as a hurricane. Third lever, intellectualizing feelings. This is the TED Talk stage. Instead of saying, "I'm scared," they'll float above the moment with theories, labels, and philosophical monologues about compatibility, personal optimization, or my individual peace feelings get translated into spreadsheets. You'll hear clean lines like, "I just think our values don't align long-term," delivered in the voice someone uses when returning a blender. It sounds reasonable, but it dodges the warm-blooded truth. Fear of closeness is pressing all the buttons. Fourth piece, compartmentalizing intimacy. They'll keep the fun room open, jokes, memes, surface banter, but lock the door to the deeper rooms where commitment, repair, and vulnerability live. You may notice the rhythm. Quick laughs on Monday, radio silence on Tuesday when you ask, "Hey, can we talk about what happened?" This is emotional Airbnb. Short stays, no permanent address, check out at noon. You're allowed on the porch, not in the kitchen. And finally, idealizing independence. Independence is a beautiful trait. What we're talking about is the worship of it. In this mode, any interdependence looks like weakness. Partners aren't teammates, they're potential anchors. You'll hear phrases like, "I just function better alone," or "I don't want to be accountable to anyone." On their highlight reel, solitude glows and connection looks like a bill they don't want to pay. The problem isn't independence, it's the way dependency is treated like a contagious cough. Now, how does all this feel on your end? Picture making a perfectly normal bid for connection. "Hey, can we put Friday on the calendar?" You meant, I want to see you, but their system hears, control, control. You bring up a small conflict gently. I felt a bit ignored last night, and they log it as proof. This is unsafe. I'm being criticized. Ordinary relationship moments, planning, clarifying, repairing, get reinterpreted as threats. Remember our mini-hook. When the breaker flips, warmth isn't argued away, it's unplugged. That's why your most convincing words don't move the needle. The power's cut at the panel, not the lamp. You'll see it in the details. Responses shrink from paragraphs to K, calls turn into texts, then into nothing. The vibe goes from laughter and inside jokes to a sterile logistics channel. I can drop your book at 6. Tone flattens, eyes go distant, hugs get quick and one-armed. Even the compliments get administrative. It's like they're CCing you on a relationship you're no longer in. And yes, it's disorienting. You start asking, am I asking for too much? Am I dramatic? That's the injury of the system. It makes you misdiagnose yourself. Let's be crystal clear. This isn't villainy. Most avoidants aren't cackling in a lair. They're protecting a tender core that once learned feeling a lot equals getting hurt. The system is entrenched because it worked before. Minimize the good, inflate the bad, stay above the feelings, keep things in separate boxes, treat independence as holy. Do all that and you dodge the panic. It's quick relief for them, but it cuts connection at the root. And if you're the one who bonds deeply, that cut feels like an amputation you can't explain. So what can you do while the lights are out? First, name the breaker. Say in your own mind, the system just tripped. This keeps you from spiraling into self-blame. Second, don't argue with a power outage. When logistics mode starts, resist sending warmer and warmer paragraphs to thaw the freeze. You're not the sun. You're a person deserving reciprocity. Third, check your footing. Are you now walking on eggshells, translating every request into something smaller, quieter, almost invisible? That's the system training you. Step back. You get to want what healthy love wants: responsiveness, context, repair. Here's the compassion piece again, because we're fair around here. Their brain is trying to keep them safe, but your heart needs more than a locked basement full of flipped switches. You need lights, you need warmth, you need, "Hey, can we fix this?" said with a soft voice and steady eyes. You can hold empathy for their wiring and still decide, I won't live in the dark to make your fuse comfortable. One more thing to watch for: the post-breaker calm. After the flip, many avoidants look eerily composed, not mad, not sad, just fine. They'll talk about routines, projects, gym schedules. They'll post wholesome breakfasts and tidy desks. To you, this feels surreal. How did we go from heart to oat milk latte reviews? That, my friends, is our bridge to the next chapter. Because once the system cuts power, what often follows is a relief so smooth it looks like clarity. It isn't. It's anesthesia. In the next part, we're going to zoom in on that calm, the kind that feels inhumanly quiet. We'll explore why relief shows up first, grief gets delayed, and how that serenity can convince you the story was always meant to end. Stick with me. When you can spot the breaker and the anesthesia, you stop doubting your glow and start trusting your read of the room. And from there, that's where your power comes back on. Number 3. Relief over grief. Why their calm means closure. Some people process heartbreak with tears. Others do it with a color-coded calendar and a fresh oat milk selfie. All right, folks, let's talk about that eerie calm, the kind that looks like enlightenment but smells like Novocaine. Their ease isn't a compliment to their strength. It's a sedative for their conscience. When an avoidant feels relief instead of grief, that usually means the story in their head is working. The rewrite has done its job. Guilt is tucked in, responsibility is asleep, and their nervous system finally gets to exhale. To them, it feels like peace. To you, it feels like you got left on, read by someone who swore they cared. So how do you read the signs without gaslighting yourself? Start with behavior, not promises. Notice the no check-ins, not even the, hey, just making sure you ate kind. Pay attention to business-like replies that sound like invoices. Noted. Can't today. Will drop it off. Watch for the dead eyes effect if you see them in person. Polite, distant, like a customer service rep whose shift ends in 3 minutes. And yes, scan the social feed, soft launch. New hobbies, tidy breakfasts, gym mirrors, sunsets with captions about peace. It's not that they're happy, it's that their narrative says, I did the right thing. Relief loves a neat aesthetic. Here's the big distinction, my friends. Relief is not the same as clarity. Clarity has felt messy edges. I care about you, and this hurts, but I can't do this right now. Relief is frictionless. I'm good. Clarity leaves room for reflection. Relief shuts the door and throws a gratitude quote on it. Clarity can sit in discomfort. Relief is allergic to it. If you can't find even a teaspoon of sorrow or ownership in their tone, you're not witnessing wisdom, you're witnessing anesthesia. But why don't they seem sad? Because avoidants often delay grief. When emotions surge, they hit the internal mute button. Mourning gets pushed to later, and later may arrive months down the line as a vague nostalgia wave. An out-of-nowhere "Hey stranger" text, or a random favorite song share. Don't confuse that with accountability. Delayed grief often says, I miss the feelings, not I understand my part. If the check-in comes without ownership, no mention of the silence, the shutdown, the rewrite, then the sadness is about their emotional hunger, not your relational safety. And let's settle this once and for all. Your pain is not proof you were less worthy. It's proof you actually bonded. You invested. You tried. You held the door open for hard conversations, even when it was drafty. The ache you feel isn't neediness. It's evidence of connection. People with capacity feel the loss. People with flipped breakers feel organized. Want a rule of thumb you can keep in your pocket? If their nervous system goes cool and stays cool, you're not waiting on closure. You're waiting on a system designed to never open. That coolness isn't a quiet invitation. It's a locked thermostat. You can bring roses, playlists, and perfectly worded paragraphs. None of it warms a heater that's been switched off at the panel. So, what do you do with their calm? You stop competing with it. You don't try to out-zen the person who just outsourced their emotions to vibes. You turn toward your own life like it's a room full of light switches with your name on them. Eat with friends who look you in the eye. Move your body until your thoughts get quiet. Journal the facts, what you asked for, what they gave, what you deserve. If a pang hits while you're scrolling their breakfast art, remind yourself that's relief speaking, not love. Let me ask you a brave question. If you had their calm right now, would you even want it? If the price was your capacity to love? My guess is no. Your heart is tender and loud and gloriously inconvenient. Keep it that way. We're not aiming to anesthetize, we're aiming to mature. Big difference. As we roll forward, get curious, not desperate. Relief means their story currently requires distance. You don't have to audition for a rewrite. You don't have to dim to appear easier. Your glow isn't the problem. Their fuse is. Hold the boundary. Hold your dignity. and hold this truth like a warm cup in both hands. Grief is a sign you were present. Relief is often a sign they were absent from themselves. Next up, we're diving into the clean slate ritual, why the deleting, blocking and tidy logistics aren't petty, but part of keeping their story sterile. Once you see that pattern, you won't chase a door that was quietly welded shut. Stay with me, folks. Your piece is getting louder. Number 4. The clean slate ritual, blocking, deleting and logistics of distance. They aren't tidying the past, they're sterilizing it. All right, folks, grab your seatbelts. After the rewrite and the switch flip, many avoidants move into what I call the clean slate ritual. On the surface, it looks practical and mature, untagging photos, returning your stuff fast, blocking or unfollowing, skipping places you used to go together. Under the hood, it's one thing, self-protection, out of sight, out of mind, out of guilt. If there's nothing to see, there's nothing to feel. If there's nothing to feel, there's nothing to fix. Let's map the moves so you stop taking them as personal insults and start reading them as protocols. First, the digital scrub. Couples' pics vanish, captions get edited, highlights trimmed until there is no we, only me. Second, the quick returns. Your charger, your hoodie, the novel they swore they'd read. It all comes back in a neat bag with the energy of no follow-up needed. Third, the channel cut. Texts muted, socials restricted, even playlists cleaned so your favorite song cannot ambush them at midnight. Fourth, the geography shift. They dodge the coffee shop, the Thursday class, the mutual hangout. Not petty, it is exposure control. The fewer reminders, the fewer pangs of doubt. Sterilize the environment, stabilize the narrative. The psychology here is simple. Their brain wants one clean story. I am safer like this. But photos, places and objects keep whispering, this mattered. That whisper is called cognitive dissonance. It hurts. The ritual is pain management. Remove the reminders, remove the ache, remove the need to self-reflect. It is not kindness, it is infection control for a nervous system that refuses to learn volume control. Now, a loving warning. Pleading for access almost always backfires. When you beg to be unblocked, request just one more talk, or use backup accounts, you accidentally prove their private thesis. I was unsafe with you. Your urgency becomes Exhibit A. Remember, they are not running on evidence. They are running on relief. Do not feed the story. Starve it. So how do you handle the aftermath with class and calm? You use clean logistics, short sentences, firm timelines, no debate. For voiceover and text, keep it simple. Here is a ready-to-use version. Hey Santa, I'm wrapping up our loose ends. I'll drop your jacket at the front desk at Maple Apartments on Friday at 5. Please leave my book with the desk by Sunday. I'm cancelling our shared subscription on the 15th. If I don't hear back by Tuesday, I'll assume this plan works. Wishing you well. That is it. No essays, no metaphors, no fishing for feelings. You are closing a tab, not opening a thread. If Santa tries to pull you into a side conversation, reply once. I'm keeping this to logistics only. Then follow your plan. Your nervous system will thank you. Let's reframe blocking so it stops feeling like a verdict on your value. Blocking is often a clumsy safety tool. Think noise-cancelling headphones for someone who never learned to work with sound. They are not declaring you worthless. They are declaring a preference for silence over self-examination. You do not need to argue with headphones. You need to stop performing to prove you were quiet enough. About the scrubbed feed, those tidy breakfasts and gym check-ins are not proof they are healed. They are proof the ritual is active. The curated calm is anesthesia, not accountability. A sterile timeline keeps their rewrite intact. You will not out-caption a coping mechanism. Mutual circles deserve a quick strategy too. Choose dignified distance. Let a trusted friend know, privately, I'm keeping this simple and won't discuss details. If you bump into Santa, hold your posture, offer a polite nod if appropriate, and return to your life. Your body language is your press release. I am fine without the performance. Here is the part that stings and heals at the same time. Ritualized clean slates are the opposite of leaving the door open. They are welded hinges, fresh paint over the doorway, new locks with no spare key. It does not mean they hate you. It means they cannot hold love and discomfort in the same hand, so they drop the hand that holds you. That reality is cold, but clarity is warm. Let the truth warm you. You are allowed to keep what was best about you in that relationship. Your honesty, your playful patience, your habit of fixing what can be fixed. Those were not mistakes. They were gifts. Spend them where they can circulate, not where they get confiscated. If you like mantras, take this one. I answer to dignity, not dopamine. Dignity means you do not DM from a burner. You do not argue with a block. You do not beg for a key to a door that no longer exists. You handle the boxes, the bills, and the passwords. You bless what was good, and you walk out with your spine intact. Where do we go next? After the slate is scrubbed and the door is sealed, many avoidants run one more program to keep the story spotless. The blame flip. Suddenly, you are not just history, you are the villain in the origin story of their piece. Why do they do it? How do you step out of a courtroom you never agreed to enter? That's what we are unpacking next. Bring your curiosity and your coffee. We are about to turn the lights on in that courtroom and watch the fog machine run out of juice. Number 5. The blame flip, when you become the villain of their story. If you step into their courtroom, you've already agreed you're on trial. All right, folks, welcome to the chapter where the fog machine gets a publicist. After the rewrite hardens and the clean slate ritual is underway, many avoidants run one more program to keep their story spotless. The blame flip. This is image management, plain and simple. They don't usually launch a dramatic smear campaign. It's softer, subtler, and far more believable to outsiders. Think phrases like, "It was just too much," or "I needed peace," or the classic, "We weren't aligned." To friends and mutuals, those lines paint them as calm, reasonable, even noble, while you get quietly cast as unstable, demanding, or intense. They style themselves as the peacekeeper, and you become the chaos they heroically escaped. Here's the important mindset shift. Expect misalignment between what happened and how it's retold. You remember late-night repairs, apologies, and real effort. Their cut features none of that. In their narrative, your request for clarity becomes pressure, your boundary becomes control, and your tears are rebranded as manipulation. It's not an evidence-based documentary. It's a highlight reel engineered to anesthetize guilt. If you chase every rumor with a rebuttal, you'll spend your days fact-checking a movie that was never filmed in your language. So what do you do when your name starts floating around with the wrong title attached? First rule of inner game: don't counter-smear. Fighting gossip with counter-gossip drags you onto the same low stage. And guess who looks dramatic then? Yep. Their defense system feeds on your reactivity. If they can provoke you into angry paragraphs, they get fresh proof for their audience. Remember, in their courtroom, you're already the defendant. The power move is opting out of the trial entirely. Second, document for yourself, not to wage war, but to stay rooted in reality. Jot down key moments, what you asked for, how you said it, how they responded. Keep texts or a brief timeline. This private record is your antidote to gaslighting, your own or anybody else's. When doubt creeps in at 1 a.m., your notes quietly remind you, I was clear, I was kind, I was consistent. Third, carry a neutral one-liner for social run-ins or curious friends, something clean and non-defensive. We weren't compatible, I wish them well. That sentence is Teflon. It refuses the bait. It keeps your dignity. If someone pushes for details, repeat it. We weren't compatible, I wish them well. You don't owe anyone a documentary. Your piece isn't a group project. Let's talk psychology for a second, my friends. The blame flip isn't always malicious, it's mechanical. If their nervous system equates closeness with danger, then to feel safe, they need a story where you were the problem and distance was the cure. Your innocence threatens that structure. That's why arguing for your goodness often backfires. It forces them to double down. You're not debating facts, you're challenging a sedative, and sedatives fight to stay in the bloodstream. What about mutual friends? Play the long game. People who know you, people who want the tea can sip it without your help. Show consistency over time, steady energy, polite boundaries, no potshots. Your character will do the PR. If someone comes to you repeating their narrative, smile and land your line. We weren't compatible. I wish them well. Then change the subject. The calm is your credibility. A quick, practical script for when you feel cornered. I won't discuss private details. I'm focused on moving forward. I hope they're well. Short, closed, done. Your future self will thank you for not turning one awkward hallway chat into a 3-episode mini-series. Here's the part that feels unfair, but sets you free. You can be right and still walk away. You can hold the truth of what happened and refuse to litigate it in the court of public opinion. That restraint isn't weakness, it's mastery. Remember, dignity is quiet. Self-respect doesn't need a megaphone. When you stay out of the mud can't claim you. So plant this somewhere you'll see it. I don't chase narratives, I live evidence. Your daily steadiness, how you speak, how you work, how you treat people, will outlast any whispered storyline. And if their tale gives them the relief they crave, let it. You're not their editor anymore. Next, we're tackling the siren song that tempts so many back into the same loop, the boomerang when they circle after you detach. We'll decode why those "hey stranger" pings aren't love, how to spot the difference between real repair and recycled chaos, and the boundary sentence that saves you 3 months of déjà vu. Bring your compass, folks. We're about to navigate the return that isn't a homecoming. Number 6. The boomerang myth. Why their return isn't love. A boomerang only proves you through it, never that it learned to fly. All right, folks, let's pop the bubble on the comeback fantasy. You've finally started moving on. Your skin clears. Your posture returns. You remember what laughing sounded like. And boom, there's the ping. Hey, stranger. Thinking of you. A song link, a meme from a place you once loved. It's tempting to call it fate. More often, it's physics. You stepped back, their ego felt the draft, and the boomerang did what boomerangs do, came back to the hand that threw it. That return isn't automatically love. It's usually control, curiosity, or ego regulation dressed up in nostalgia. Let's decode the common maneuvers so your heart doesn't fall for stage lighting. First, breadcrumb texts, tiny crumbs that never form a meal. How have you been? Saw your post. What's your Netflix lately? No plan, no follow-through, just pings to see if the door still opens. Second, nostalgia drops. They remember the taco truck on 7th, your inside joke about the neighbor's cat, that weekend trip where the rain was perfect. Nostalgia is a powerful perfume. It makes the past smell better than it was. Third, crisis pings. Suddenly, they're overwhelmed. Car trouble, tough meeting, weird family drama, and you're the safest pair of ears. You become a free therapist, not a partner. Lastly, availability checks. Are you seeing anyone? Miss our talks. Translation: is my spot still reserved, even though I never bought a ticket? Here's the line that will save you months. Coming back isn't the same as coming correct. There's repair, and then there's recycle. Repair includes ownership, I shut down and hurt you, therapy or skills practice, not just quotes, actual work, and consistent closeness. Calls, dates, repairs after conflict, not disappearing at the first sign of depth. Repair shows up weekly, not whimsically. It shows up when the conversation gets uncomfortable and stays present instead of punishing you with silence. Recycle, on the other hand, is periodic warmth with zero capacity increase. The vibe rotates, charm to closeness, to panic, to distance. You get 2 good weeks, then the breaker flips, and you're back to decoding wind. So how do you sort signals from smoke? Use a testable boundary framework, polite, firm, and measurable. Try this as your baseline. I'm only open to reconnecting if we rebuild trust consistently. That means weekly, in-person conversations for the next 8 weeks, no disappearing, and addressing the shutdowns we had before. If you're not up for that, I wish you well. Short, calm, specific. It names the work, consistency, presence, repair, and the timeline. If they reply with, "Why so rigid?" that's your data. Love respects structure. Avoidance resents it. Give yourself 2 simple dashboards: words versus weeks and warmth versus repair. On words versus weeks, don't measure by what they claim today. Measure by what they keep doing for 4 to 8 weeks. On warmth versus repair, notice whether conflict, even small conflict, gets processed or punished. If they can't repair small ruptures, they can't hold big closeness. That's not me being harsh, that's physics again. Let's talk scripts, because your nervous system loves a sentence it can grab when your feelings get loud. If you get a breadcrumb, good to hear from you. I'm open to talk if we're rebuilding, not reminiscing. Weekly, in person, no ghosting, and we address what broke. If that's not your plan, I'm keeping my distance. If you get crisis pings, that sounds tough. I'm not the right person to process this with. Take care. If you get availability checks, I'm focused on people who show up consistently. Wishing you well. Notice how each line is respectful and final. You're not cruel, you're clear, you're leaving the door only where there's work, not where there are words. And if they accept your framework but start slipping, cancelling, delaying, dodging the hard parts, trust the trend, not the excuse. Close the door, lock it, water your plants. Now, I want to soothe something tender. The part of you that hopes this time is different. You're not silly for hoping. You're human, but your dignity deserves evidence, not ambience. If they've done the therapy, if they can say, "I was avoidant and I'm learning to stay," if they schedule and keep the sessions, if they repair instead of retreat, then yes, consider cautious optimism. That's repair. Anything less is a rerun. A quick metaphor to pocket. Imagine your love as a house with a porch light. Repair is someone who shows up at the time they promised, knocks at the door, and helps fix the roof when it rains. Recycle is someone who texts you from the curb at 2 a.m., then disappears at sunrise. One is partnership. One is a vibe. Choose the roof. If you need a one-breath mantra when the ping hits at midnight, try, "I don't chase returns, I measure repair." Put it in your notes app, pin it to your mirror, say it before you reply. Next up, we pivot fully into your counter-move, how no contact, nervous system repair, and self-respect turn off your inner magnet for mixed signals. We'll set up a recovery plan that makes your peace non-negotiable and your standards unmistakable. Bring a notebook, friends. We're about to make calm your new normal. Number 7. Your counter-move. No contact, nervous system repair, self-respect. Close the tab in your mind. The page will keep loading errors. All right, folks, this is where the story turns back to you. No more decoding their moods. No more reading tea leaves in their captions. This is your counter-move. Calm, precise, and beautifully human. First, let's redefine no contact. It's not revenge. It's not a stunt to make them chase you. No contact is a clarity protocol. You create silence so your nervous system can stop bracing for impact and start remembering who you are. Think of it like taking your brain off speakerphone. Suddenly, you can hear your own voice again. Start with the digital reset. Remove triggers the way you'd child-proof a kitchen. Mute their socials. Archive the thread. Unfollow without making an announcement. And move old photos to a hidden folder you won't accidentally bump into at 1 a.m. Delete the just-in-case drafts. Your phone should feel like a living room, not a haunted house. If you must keep a contact for logistics, rename it to something neutral, like "Do not open during healing." You're training your attention to serve you, not ambush you. Next is sleep, because tired minds make desperate decisions. Anchor 2 bookends to your day. A simple shutdown routine at night, dim lights, no scrolling, 3 deep breaths, lights out, and a morning ramp-up, water, sunlight, 2 minutes of stretching. Perfection isn't the goal. Consistency is. When your sleep steadies, your emotions stop running red lights. Layer in micro goals to rebuild competence. Keep them tiny on purpose. Reply to 1 email you've avoided. Walk for 10 minutes. Cook a simple breakfast. Tidy 1 surface. Each checkmark tells your brain, we can move things. Competence is the antidote to rumination. Action proves you still steer. Now, reconnect with safe people, the ones who text back, show up, and don't treat your heart like a group project. Tell 2 friends, I'm doing a clarity reset. I'm not rehashing details, just keeping company. Go for low-drama plans. Coffee, a walk, a dumb movie you can laugh at. Your nervous system heals in safe rooms with warm eyes. Let their steadiness calibrate yours. Run a simple journaling loop for 15 minutes. Here are few options you can try. 1. What happened? 1 paragraph, factual, no poetry. 2. What did it cost me? Energy, trust, time, name it. 3. What do I choose next? 1 doable action before bed or by noon tomorrow. Close the notebook. You're not writing a novel, you're building rails for your attention. Here's a sober reframe to keep in your pocket. Their inability to hold love and discomfort at the same time speaks to their capacity, not your value. Read that twice. Your warmth did not break anything. Their fuse was already small. Your closeness only revealed it. Respect capacity like you. Respect gravity. Don't argue with it. Plan around it. We're anchoring this in dark stoicism. Control what's yours. Attention, boundaries, habits, not their storyline. You can't command their growth. You can command your inputs. When a thought spiral hits, ask, is this within my control? If no, you shift to a body task, walk, shower, breathe, or a tiny task, dishes, calendar, inbox. Philosophy becomes practical the moment it touches your hands. Need scripts? Use them. If Santa pings you during no contact, I'm not available to reconnect. I'm focusing on my well-being. Wishing you well if mutuals fish for gossip. We weren't compatible. I wish them well. If you feel tempted to check their page, say out loud, I close the tab. Then physically stand, change rooms, sip water. Pair the sentence with motion so your brain learns the exit ramp. Expect difficulty. Your mind will bargain just one peak. Your chest will ache and memories will play in 4K. This isn't proof you're weak. It's proof you loved. Healing is boring before it's beautiful. Keep walking. Boredom is your bridge to peace. Let's craft your quick daily reset. Morning sunlight, water, 3 breaths, 1 micro goal by noon, a check-in with one safe person, an evening walk or stretch, the 3-question journal, lights out, 5 anchors. Miss one? Hit the next. This is about rhythm, not perfection. Affirmation time. Type it in the comments to show yourself. Show them. Show the world around you. I choose clarity over chaos. I protect my peace. I control my focus. Say it. Post it. Live it. Next, we'll build on this momentum and reclaim the frame. How to design a life that doesn't wait at locked doors. New standards, better filters, and signs of partners who lean in when it rains. Curiosity ready? Good. Your quiet power is warming up. Number 8. Reclaim the frame. Build a life that doesn't wait. Criteria for future partners and make them testable in the real world. You want communication under stress. Not perfect, but present. You want repair attempts, apologies with behavior attached, not quotes and promises. You want interdependence, 2 whole people who can say, I need you, without meaning, save me. In practice, that looks like conversations that don't end in vanish mode, plans that turn into calendars, and conflict that turns into clarity. Keep a quiet checklist for yourself, not to grade them, but to protect you. Do they show up? Do they stay kind? Do they repair? If 2 out of 3 keep failing, you're not being picky, you're being responsible. Here's a reframe worth framing. If they reach the rewrite and relief stage, they're not on pause. They're gone. Treat welded doors like walls and build your life on the side where the sunlight is. The win was never getting them back. The win is getting you back. Your attention, your humor, your peace, your pace. That's the treasure we've been digging toward this whole time. Let's sprinkle in a few identity anchors you can install this week. Create a non-negotiable hour with your name on it. No scrolling, no pining, just something that feeds you. Writing, lifting, painting, walking a loop while your favorite track plays. Choose a value you can demonstrate daily. I'm the person who leaves places better than I found them. Watch how quickly your self-image upgrades when your actions carry your values. And schedule joy on purpose. Don't wait for it to crash the party. Try one new micro thing every 7 days. A class, a recipe, a route, a book chapter. Novelty teaches your brain there's more future than past. A word to the tender part that still flinches. Their inability to hold love and discomfort at the same time pointed to capacity, not your worth. You didn't fail at being lovable. You succeeded at being visible. Keep that visibility. Stay honest. Keep your volume at human. The right people won't need earplugs. When the what-if voice knocks at midnight, give it a job. Hand it the 3 questions we've used before and keep them brief. What happened? What did it cost? What do I choose next? Then act on the smallest possible next step. You're not proving anything to anyone. You're giving your future self a clearer runway. And because we love a compass more than a map, hold to dark stoicism. Control what's yours. Your attention, what gets your eyes. Your boundaries, what gets your time. Your habits, what gets repeated. Their storyline is a theatre across town. Your life is the stage you're standing on. So we circle back to the promise we made at the start. When someone chooses emotional erasure, when they rewrite, sterilize, and call relief peace, your greatest loyalty is to the life that remembers you fully. Keep building that life, one ordinary, unglamorous, wildly powerful decision at a time. If their silence grows, let your roots grow deeper. If their door stays shut, let your windows open wider. You are not waiting, you are becoming.